This is your official Leguizamo spoiler warning. If you have not read the graphic novel Ghetto, Klown, seen the live show Ghetto, Klown, watched the special Ghetto, Klown, or seen the documentary Live at Rikers, and you don't want the Ghetto, Klown portion or all of that to be ruined, then this is your spoiler warning. We will be ruining Ghetto, Klown.
Show them the book.
In the intro.
No, you don't want to show it now?
It's just this quick little spoiler warning.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Peace. I hate the word.
Hello and welcome to Mish and Zach's Leguizamo. My name is Mish. Oh, no, the podcast. Hello and welcome to Mish and Zach's Leguizamo, a podcast where each week my friend Zach and I get together to talk about something that John Leguizamo has done in his career. We're covering everything, every single thing except a handful of things that we cannot find or get access to legally. Or illegally, to be perfectly honest with you. Some of the things are near impossible. My name is Mish. You might know me from my favourite book being... Honestly, the first book that came to my head in terms of my favourite is High Fidelity.
Yeah, cool.
So I'm going to say High Fidelity. I am joined, as always, by my dear friend Zachary Thomas Ruane, who you might know from.
My favourite book is Slaughterhouse 5. Nice.
We're not here with Tom, but I'm sure... Would Tom have a favourite book?
Yeah, I think Tom reads. I don't read enough. I need to read more. I need to get off my phone and read a book.
Well, we all know that recently I've been reading a lot of them romantic, horny boys.
You listen, don't you?
Half.
I've started listening more. I listen on the walks. When I walk my dog, I listen to books. But I want to read more too.
Listening to a horny book it's not my favourite thing to do.
No.
I prefer to read a horny book, but I love to listen to a thriller. If it's well narrated.
I've just started listening to like a book that's sort of a journalistic sort of, not history book, but like factual. And that works pretty well. Like it can be a little, it's hard. It's like a little dense and like they'll be talking about names and places and it's the sort of thing you would normally reread. But there's kind of an advantage to listening to it because it's like when you sit and read, you like Google stuff. Whereas like if I'm just listening to it, I'm like, all right,
yep,
missed the name, but that's okay. Keep on going. Like,
yeah, 100%.
The story.
Well, let's chat books, babe. Do you reckon I should start calling you babe?
If you want, babe. All right, babe. Let's talk books. And we're holding it up for the visual. If you're watching, but if you're listening.
Hey.
This week we read Ghetto, Klown. That's right. In 2015, John Leguizamo teamed up with two artists to adapt his one-man show Ghetto, Klown into a graphic novel. The book follows a very similar track to the one-man show, featuring Leguizamo as a narrator, but with interesting visual elements to take you on the journey. In fact, I would argue it is less of an adaptation and more of a direct translation of the live show.
That's well said.
I didn't talk about the story because we already have, but I just suppose there would be people listening for the first time. It's about his early days in acting school, Hollywood. It's probably the first one-man show he's done that's very specific to the John Leguizamo, the actor.
Yeah. So as you could imagine, for us who are psychopaths who've literally watched his entire filmography up to this point, this was very exciting for us when we first saw Ghetto, Klown because it kind of gave us an insight into all the things that we had seen of him. Yeah,
it's much more like it's the Q&A tour of live shows.
Yeah.
He makes it universal and moving, but it's much more about John Leguizamo. Like his shows before this and after this, shows before it are about his childhood, so they're very universal. Shows after this become more about history and that sort of thing, whereas this is him saying, this is how I became an actor. Here's some fun Hollywood stories.
But,
yeah.
So this is my big takeaway from this book, because obviously I knew the story before I'd read the book. Also, shout out to the person who sent us these, by the way.
I'm so sorry that I cannot remember who it was.
But are so thankful.
If it was you, let us know.
We wouldn't have known this. Please do. Please let us know so we can give you a proper shout out. Like, this is such a nice gift.
It might have even been the publisher. Was it the publisher or was it a person?
It was a person. Someone bought us these.
I'm so sorry we didn't get your name down. We just we took a long time to get to it, but thank you for sending these.
Thank you. You're an angel. Okay, so the biggest thing I got from this that I have not gotten in our entire time of Leguizamo Rama.
Oh.
Yeah, huge. And we've talked about it before, but never as much as the impact of this. It is written by John. It is pretty much the exact script from his Ghetto Klown show.
That's my feeling, yeah.
Yeah. But it really highlights what a strong writer he is.
Hey, a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's really, really highlights. And I love text. I love dialogue. In terms of film and stuff like that, it's right up there for me as a very, very important
you're a
part.
writer, I would say, first and foremost.
And I like dialogue. That's like, I think, if we're going to break down myself as a writer, this is if you ever wish to hire me as one, I think it's my strength is writing dialogue between two people or more than one person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to agree.
No, I'm thinking back. I haven't seen your dialogue in a long time, but it is good dialogue, yeah.
Thank you. And I really, really love it. And I think that John Leguizamo is a really, really strong writer. And I think what's really interesting is one of the reviews on the back of this book is by Spike Lee. No, not Spike Lee, sorry. He does do one, but I want to read the Baz Luhrmann one. And he says, John's writing is a cross between hip-hop and Eugene O'Neill. And I thought that was very, very astute of Baz Luhrmann. His scathing and unforgiving look at his own life takes no prisoners and best of all sets himself and us free.
Wow.
And I just think that I could feel, please correct
And then he says, I didn't actually grab him by the balls.
Yeah, good.
No, he doesn't say that. That's just a little reference to the story. John Leguizamo implies that Baz Luhrmann grabbed him by the balls.
By the nutsack.
And said, do the line! And I think there's a bit of dramatic liberty taken there.
I could imagine writing this for John would have been very cathartic to be able to go back and see, because it was written in 2015, to go back to the start of his career, see where it's come, but also kind of work through all of the things that he kind of went through to be able to write this. Must have been a very cathartic experience.
Are you saying write the show?
Yeah.
I thought you meant write the book.
No, I'm talking about Ghetto Klown.
Show, I think he emailed them the script.
Yeah.
Write the book.
Yeah, no, I think so.
I don't think there's anything particularly.
No, I meant the show. I'm talking about Ghetto Klown as a story in general. I have a couple of bits that I really liked. One of them's a big comment on graphic novels in general. Now, let's gather round, kids.
Gather round.
This might come as a big shock to all of you, but I'd never read a graphic novel.
You've never
before.
read any ever?
No, not really.
Wow.
No, they just never really tickled my pickle, if you will.
Oh, that's so fun. That's a really fun little fact.
But what a fun way to take in a nice little story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a proper... I wonder if people know about these.
Wow.
I mean, I'd read comics. I'd read comic strips and stuff, but I'm not a big comic.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
Is there a difference between a comic and a graphic novel?
No. I would say a graphic novel is to comics what novels were to... You know how they used to serialize novels? You know how novels were written as newspaper... each chapter was released in the newspaper and then they would bring them together as a novel? It's kind of what comics were. Comics are short. Graphic novels are novel length. But ultimately, they're the same thing. It's just about length. But yeah, you'd never read a graphic novel. That's
Never
cool,
read a
man.
graphic
That's
novel.
cool.
Yeah,
Talk to me about that. Anyway.
Well, it was very confronting when you I'll hold it up for the audience on the YouTubes, when you come across the big sex scenes, because all of a sudden you think that you're reading a fun little cartoon and then they just put a bottom in there.
Yeah, there's lots of
Look at this
bottoms
bottom.
in graphic novels, Mish.
Yeah.
Lots of bottoms and lots of violence usually.
Oh my God, I just had a whole bunch of photos fall out of this book.
Your photos?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Lots of bottoms. Mish, graphic novels are rude, crude.
Oh my God, that's wild. Sorry. This is just, you can cut this if you want.
No, stop making Tom cut stuff.
Yeah, sorry.
Make it work.
Sorry, I'll make it work. This book had been, I don't know how these got in there. I've been moving house, right?
Yeah.
And I have no idea how these two photos got into this book, but it's a photo of my mum when she was 15 and a photo of my mum and my dad when she would have been like 26, 27, and my dad would have been like, I don't know, 105.
Wow, that's so funny. Your mum looks so much like your mum.
What's my mum?
You know, but I thought like your mum at 20, 25 would look like you, but she looks like your mum.
Yeah.
And then you look like a cross between your dad and your mum.
Yeah.
You look like you're halfway between, which is the crazy way.
Crazy how that genetics
that happens. I'm so fascinated by your shock at the rudeness, because you know that graphic novels, they go to places.
Well, that's what, yeah, apparently. But like, I mean,
they're often more violent than movies.
It felt a bit porny, yeah, but truly.
You haven't seen The Boys, have you?
The Boys?
Yeah.
No.
There's a lot of movies recently that I feel like they've finally captured how full-on graphic novels can be. Because there's a certain level with graphic novels where you get away with more because it's a drawing. This doesn't go to the violence, but yeah, bottoms and...
Yeah.
Tell me more about your experience reading a graphic novel. We'll talk about this one in particular, but I'm fascinated by the experience of reading a graphic novel. Because I'm not a comic book guy, but I have read a few graphic novels and I really do like the form as a form.
So as a writer, which I think I can comfortably call myself, I suppose, to write a graphic novel would require an incredible editor. Like, because you've got to get everything quite succinct quite quickly in a small amount of space. I'm just now explaining what a graphic novel is. But there's not a lot of fluff in a graphic novel.
It's very similar to a script. You're writing. It's more like film writing than it is like
That's, it made me sound so stupid. I'm like, did you know that when you're writing dialogue,
this is your but it's like it's there's a lot, but also it's interesting because a lot of filmmakers read comics and like are inspired by graphic novels and vice versa. Like the two forms of comics and film have been around for about 100 years and they've influenced each other. You know what I mean? Like, I think Sin City is a really interesting example where, you know, first you have film noir, the genre. Well, really, first you have American crime films, and then you have the French define it as something, and then you have people like riffing on that, and then you have a guy writing a comic book inspired by the film genre, and then you have a guy adapting that comic book into a film to look as much like the comic book as possible. So that interaction, but it's very cool. Yeah, it's very much like... I don't think you'd need a good editor. It's a different form of writing.
Well, I guess I felt like most comics or graphic novels, not that I never really properly read them, would have been based around action and stuff because it's such small spurts of dialogue with such graphic pictures. And everything I think of about, if I ever think about them, it's always like some sort of like superhero thing or like some sort of fantasy thing, right? But in this particular one, and I'm assuming a big multitude of graphic... I don't think John Leguizamo invented the graphic novel. It's a lot more dialogue heavy and less about the action and more about what's being said.
Like, this is interesting because it wasn't written as a graphic novel.
No.
But there are... Like, Ghost World is an incredible one. Like, there are...
God, I need to watch that movie again.
Read the graphic novel. I'll lend you the graphic novel.
Oh, do you have it?
Yeah, I read it again recently, and it's very different to the film. It's more episodic, but you'll see. That's the thing that I feel. But like, it's like there are a lot of obviously comic books, and I think there are probably like comic book people listening right now that are like going to kill me for being inaccurate. There are like a lot of superhero graphic novels. Some of them are written as graphic novels and others are like collections of comics. But there's like whole different stories. There's one called Mouse, which I haven't read in a really long time, which is a story about like the Holocaust, but everyone is represented as animals. There's like it's a whole thing. There's just, I mean, it feels exciting right now as you say that, because I think there are actually graphic novels that I think you would love, that they're not sci-fi, they're not superhero, they're like interesting personal stories, and like
we'll love that.
They're great. They're cool because it's like film, but you can also like linger on images and linger on moments like you do a book. And I love graphic novels. I haven't read.
I could imagine actually that graphic novels and you would be very well suited.
Yeah,
you would quite like that.
I was never much of a comic book guy.
You should write one.
No, I wouldn't know how.
I don't know. I think you could figure it out.
Yeah, I could, but yeah, no, it's I'm excited for you to read them. What an exciting moment!
Well, I've got to find time to be able to do that. I'm currently unpacking.
I'm not
an
saying
office.
like tomorrow. I want to say one thing that I found.
Yeah,
really
how did you find the
interesting.
reading of it?
I found what I found really interesting was like I don't know how to describe this, but how like the form. I find Adaptation really interesting, right? Because I think about the Psycho remake, the 97,
Which I
98.
like, by the way, but
Yeah.
go on.
But part of why that's so interesting is because it's like it
Fapping sounds?
Yeah, I've talked about that a lot. No, it feels like an experiment more than it does a film in its own right. I've talked about that on this podcast, haven't I?
Yes.
Yeah. So I won't. But what I find interesting is the way that suddenly you have something to compare it to. You sort of see, I think as someone who makes stuff, whenever someone adapts or whenever someone like remakes or whenever someone, you suddenly are able to see, it makes you see the 1960 film in a new light. Because it's in colour, you suddenly see the black and white of the original for all its advantages. You see the casting, you see all these things. And this, for me, was really interesting because graphic novels like are almost the opposite of theatre in so many ways, right? Theatre is, it's very expensive and difficult to literally represent times and places and people. It costs more money. It's very hard to physically take you somewhere else. It's very, very hard to have lots of different actual people on that stage. It's very hard to visually do things. But it's very easy in theatre to do characterization, voices, music, sound. Like theatre is all about it's all about performance. It's all about sound. It's all about voice. It's all about all these things. Whereas graphic novel, and it's all about time. So theatre, you can control the time and you can kind of, not to the level you can with film because theatre is in real time that you're in the room, but you are in control of how long something takes or how it plays out. Graphic novels are the opposite. You can't do voices. There's no performance. You're not in control of the rhythm. You're not in control of the timing. What you do have, though, is the ability to go anywhere, to have as many people in the place as possible. They can look like anything. You can kind of do anything. So they're like almost opposite genres.
Yeah, it's like at the top when I mentioned that I think more than anything we've done in Leguizamo over the last 47 years that we've been making this podcast is that I think that this highlighted what a great writer he is, because that's what I was able to do when reading this, because his writing is so strong.
Totally, but I think it's like so interesting to see. So I think the one I'll point to is like the Baz Luhrmann scene. For me, it was really interesting because it was like that's a whole sequence in the show that's about he does a Benicio del Toro voice. Also, it's like the joke is how he speaks, and that becomes part of the joke. And then he does a Baz Luhrmann, and I was really excited to see this because it's like, how are they going to visually represent Baz Luhrmann? But it's like suddenly they have this other challenge of like, this is a whole sequence built on voices and on character. But then you've got a Benicio del Toro, you've got a Baz Luhrmann, and you've got to try and capture the voice that he's doing and how they write it and stuff. It was just really interesting, I thought.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but no, like I think you're absolutely right about how great of a writer he is. It was also just, it's just a fascinating like little exercise in I don't know, just like seeing it anew. And it made you go like, it's funny because a film, if they were to make a film of this show, it would be the combination of those two things. It's like, it's part of why I love film so much. I love graphic novels, I love theatre, but what I love about film is that it has all of the, it has everything that both of those things have as one.
I will say as well, in a lot of the pictures of John, he is incredibly muscular. And I'm wondering if that was a choice by him.
That was a note. I mean, if you're
Look at his naked muscular body here.
But I thought that was also a pretty good representation of a naked John Leguizamo.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think that's kind of what he was looking like around then.
Yeah, that's very Leguizoli-wood.
But I just, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's like if you were to try to imagine what a film of a John Leguizamo live show would look like at its most idealized, it would be somewhere between these two.
He's just had the most lovely life. Interesting life. It really is worth a graphic novel.
And it's a life well lived. It's like so much more fascinating than if he'd just become the most famous guy in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's something so rich about
that. And I'm so glad that we kind of came to this towards the end of this Leguizamo-Rama situation, because I don't know, this to me, like having this and the story in itself just so encapsulates what a career he's had, and how, like, we've joked for the last 47 years about how we're insane and that the doing of this podcast makes us look like crazy people, and that we didn't think about it properly before we jumped straight into doing it. But it makes me really happy that I know about him and his life, because it's so interesting. I found out about somebody very, very interesting.
Totally. Yeah, no, I think it's very cool. I want to talk to you more about, like, your revelations on, like, what surprised you as someone who maybe had an idea of what comic books are or graphic novels are. What surprised you?
That there were no bams, whams, shablams. Truly, kind of, that's what it was. Like, I didn't know I thought it was going to be a comic, but I thought that, like, I wasn't really sure what we were going to get. And it's the story. Like, I know the story because I've seen Ghetto Klown. I've seen his live show for Ghetto Klown, all of that. But I was just surprised by, like, how it's essentially a drama.
Yeah.
It is a drama. It's a drama book.
One thing I really love about comics is the way they, and I think I don't know enough about the genre, like about the form to say this correctly. I do think that Frank Miller really was a pioneer in this with his Daredevil run in the 80s. But comic books, I think, used to be very, like, 6 panels per page kind of thing. Like, like that idea you probably have of a comic, Mish, of, like, all the squares are the same shape and everything happens within those squares.
I got so lost in the book. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was listening and then for a fleeting second, I'm so sorry. I was just the worst podcast partner in the world just then.
No, it's fine, man.
No, Zach, I am genuinely, this is what I heard. I think the thing with comics, nothing.
That's totally
into squares. No, Zach, please don't.
It's
no,
so
don't.
funny.
No, you're going to have don't.
What am I going to do?
A bit.
No, it was just, I knew very early on, I was like, oh, she's gone. And then I was like, I'll try and fill, but I was like, I think she's just going to be gone forever if I keep filling.
They're fascinating things, these graphic novels.
Yeah, I know. But what I was going to say was the way that, like, I feel like the way the way that the in comics,
yes,
I imagine your idea of comics was that they were very, like, there's this many panels per page,
yeah,
and that all the images and all the talking bubbles happen inside those panels, and the way that the panels move. One thing I find interesting is when you don't have editing, when you don't have time in your control, the way they create rhythm and the way that they'll make you stop and look at an image, or the way that they'll make you jump around, I think is really, really interesting.
Yeah, same. No, I do think that too. I'm sorry. I feel awful for what happened.
Don't stress. What do you think about it? We're doing something here. There are people listening. I'm trying to talk about it.
I'm so sorry. The reason that I was distracted wasn't because I don't give a fuck about what you have to say. And I swear I do. I care about what you have to say.
I was just talking for the sake of it.
I know, but I still...
That's what we do when we do
podcasts,
Mish.
I know. Now seems like the right time to say... I have not slept for 3 days.
It's all good. You're moving house.
I'm moving house.
I don't care.
I have discovered some of the best songs. I can't
Tell me
stop.
what you were looking at. Then we'll talk about
Okay,
the
so the scene at the end, it's in his special, The Ghetto Clown, but it's at the end of this graphic novel as well, is where he confronts his dad who's mad at him for writing plays about what a shitty dad he was. And the dialogue that happens between him and his dad there, very similar to what we were talking about the other day when we were talking about When Harry Met Sally, actually, which is that like, it's like what you were saying about how it's incredibly personal and specific to his relationship with his page 172. Specific to him and his dad, but it had like this very kind of like universal feeling. I really think it captured like John's breakdown to come back up again. So basically with Ghetto Clown, like to kind of break it right down, he kind of loses himself a little bit and he has kids and he gets married and stuff and he starts to feel like he's not being a great dad. He's not very present. He feels very lost. His wife pulls him up on it. And then he kind of comes out of that by having this conversation with his dad because his dad's really angry because his dad came and saw him do a show about what a shitty dad he had been. And I just think it's so interesting. He's like, listen, Dad, can't you listen to me for once in your life? You'll be happy to hear I'm almost done writing about you. I just didn't know how, but I always loved and hated you because you were my most demanding teacher, because it's all about his different teachers. You taught me to never rely on anybody, but you also made me not like myself. I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm a man and it's my thing to see you and me. And it's my thing, see, you and me. We're not so different. We were like these two beings walking side by side on this planet and we just could never. We just could never. I just thought that was a really lovely little
really
bit.
Beautiful. It's very cool as well. I think this is a great example of sort of what I was getting at about rhythm, right? Like the way that they capture, like the way that graphic novels, like you read it quickly. There's like they've got like reaction shots and pauses, and then that like because you were my most demanding teacher. It's like a single frame. The choice is to make it a reaction shot of the dad. It's not John saying it. It's a reaction shot of the dad. It's a really cool example of how like you can create rhythm in graphic novels, and not only that, what graphic novels have that theatre and film doesn't is like actual stillness. You could be reading, and then if it's a really powerful enough moment, you actually stop in it in a way because it's still, and you suddenly become aware of the fact. It's very nice, very beautiful.
Kind of like music. Do you know what I just thought of for some reason? Is Whitney Houston's "And I Will Always Love You."
The bit before the bit?
Yeah, the bit before the bit. And I shouldn't say Dolly Parton's, but Whitney Houston's.
No, Whitney Houston's version
rebirth
is what
of it.
does it. Yeah.
That big boom. And it's such an impactful boom. And then this silence before the it's so good.
Fun fact, I learned this on Corridor Crew, is that the one way they do explosions in movies before if they want a really impactful like nuclear explosion or explosion that takes up the whole screen, they'll do 1 or 2 frames of complete blackness. So you'll be traveling along and then you don't even register it. It's subliminal. They'll go to complete blackness and then white light. And that makes the white appear a lot brighter.
I love them.
And I think that's just such an interesting, like, it's the same psychological thing, the way silence can be.
It was like the top of The Lion King, where it's black and then the sun starts to rise and that song comes on. Oh.
But it's like the way silence and stillness and darkness is such an important tool on all of those things.
In everything, really. Yeah. I'm very, very bad at remembering to take a breath. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, same. Yeah, absolutely.
And the benefits of just being able to be silent for a bit. It's kind of across the...
Well, I mean, it's hard when you're in comedy because people don't... because sometimes people don't let you have silences because then they'll heckle in those silences. It's important then when you get into a room where people don't heckle to like remember, hey, I can... do that, and if I've got enough control and if I've done my job well enough, I can go to it. I definitely have had to find that again. Like, can I get back to that? For sure. It's such an interesting thing. Like, yeah, for sure. It's why I want to read more graphic, but it's why graphic novels are so good. I think for writing is as well, but like for when you want to make filmy stuff, because you can kind of like, you learn sort of visual language.
It's like a storyboard.
Yeah. Exactly. You kind of learn things about film that are happening too fast. When you're watching a film, it happens so fast that it's subliminal. But in graphic novels, you can like go, oh, this is how they're like, that's a close up. That's a moment. That's a moment of stillness. Like you can really like learn things from it, I think. I'm going to recommend some graphic novels.
I want to read Ghost World because I saw the movie 100 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was a graphic novel, but honestly, really, really hard to not read in one session as well.
Yeah.
To put down. Really, really difficult.
It's a really nice kind of reading. And it's like, because it's like film, you know? Yeah, I love graphic novels. Yeah.
John, I'm so proud of you, man.
Good job, John.
Like genuinely, of all the stuff, like you've done a lot of stuff and there's a lot of stuff that I think is great praise, but this really made me just very proud. One of those like, man, you've come so far. You have a fucking graphic novel. Like, and I know that you're Sid the Sloth. I know that. And I know you were in Canto. You are Bruno, who we did not talk about that whole year. You know what I mean? Like, you've done some huge shit. We've seen you go from Dude in Miami Vice to, you know, Fourth Build to and John Leguizamo to with John Leguizamo and then to and John Leguizamo. Like, you have a graphic novel, my dude.
And with many a viral video.
So many viral videos.
Viral videos that I can't wait to comment on after I've been to America and gotten out of America again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we loved that video, John.
Yeah. We really did. Truly, if you're listening, John, we're so glad you went viral on that. And we get it. We're on your team.
I'll be commenting on that as soon as I'm back from America.
My guy.
How
many Leguizamos do you give John Leguizamo's Ghetto Klown, the graphic novel?
You first, because I haven't decided yet.
I'm going to give it 4.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 4.5, and I don't know why.
I'm giving it 4.5 as well, and I know why.
Great. I'll piggyback off you.
Yeah, because it is 5 stars in terms of it's his story, he's the author. It's all pictures of him. It's like what a thrill that he got this adaptation, all of those things. It loses half a star merely on a technicality that he's a person.
Yeah.
And he can't be in a book.
Yeah. And that's on facts, though. That's science. There's nothing he could do to to make that different.
It's not that I don't like it. It's not that it's not. It is 5 Leguizamos on a certain level, but you can't have a person in a book.
But what if the book cover was made with his skin?
That would be less Leguizamos because of
that's a
the
weird
pain
choice
inflicted on him.
Yeah, and a weird choice for him to make,
and not
very out of character.
He would do very out of character.
That would probably make it about a 3. I think. Yeah. And it would be squishy.
Yeah. What if it was made? What if instead of drawings, it was made with photoshopped photos of John Leguizamo? Still 4.5.
Still 4.5.
Because he's not moving or talking, his voice is a part of him. And also, he's losing out parts to visual representations of Baz Luhrmann, Patrick Swayze. It's 4.5 Leguizamos.
It's a 4.5
but a fine 4.5 Leguizamos.
And I'm so glad we got to say, again, thank you to whoever sent it to us.
We
Such
are bad
fun.
podcasters that we can't remember your name, but we remember your heart, and your heart is
We will
true.
never forget your heart. Yeah, so feel free to check it out. Let us know what you think if you have read it yourself. If you have any other graphic novels that you want to recommend to Zach, who will then recommend the ones to me, because if you recommend them all to me, I'll get overwhelmed and won't read any of them. I'm going to start on Ghost World, and I'd like to read a couple more graphic novels.
Thanks, everybody. See you on Tuesday for the Mish and Zach podcast.
The Mish and Zach podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We believe that our collective culture will never reach its full potential until we embrace the history and the truth of the oldest cultures of this land.